We continue now at the top of Daf Nun Hamid Beis and Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 55b. On the previous summit, we had a machlokas amoraim between Ravasi and Ravin. They were both quoting Rabbi Yochanan differently. The machlokas was, let's say you have a piece of property and there's a boundary line, which is a meitzer, or let's say there's a chatzav, which is a boundary line that's made of bushes or trees. If you have this boundary line, so the question is, when it comes to peah and tumah, is that considered a separation, that it's considered to be two properties, or is it considered to be one property? Ravasi said that Rabbi Yochanan said that it's not considered to be a separation, meaning it's all considered to be one property. And Ravin, he said that Rabbi Yochanan said that it is considered to be a separation, it's considered to be two properties. And the Gemara is now in the middle of bringing a Mishnah from Meseches peah, which talks about the idea that by peah, if you do have a separation between properties, then there's going to be a separate obligation in each property of peah. And the Mishnah here continues, let's say you have a separation v'derech harabim, you have a separation, the Rashbam says it's 16 amos wide road for the public, v'derech hayachid, or let's say it's just a road that is for the public, it's just going to be 4 amos. And the Mishnah continues, u'shvil harabim, u'shvil hayachid hakavua bein bimos hachamu vein bimos hageshamim, or let's say you have a path for the public or a path for the individual, but that path is permanent, it's there both in the summertime and in the rainy season. And the Rashbam says, shvil harabim sheholchen sham harabim b'raglein, it means to say that the public would walk there. Avol derech harabim makom hiloch ha'golos v'asusim. The difference between a shvil and a derech is a place where you have even the wagons and the horses going. The shvil harabim is just the people walking. V'kula lozu afzu katani. The idea of the Mishnah is, not only is this a separation, but even the smaller thing is a separation. And again, it has to be that it's kavua, hakavua bein b'yemos hachama v'afilu b'yemos hageshamim. It's permanent in the summer season and even in the rainy season. She'ein regilam lahalich bebikla, even though normally you don't walk in a valley in the rainy season. Mahalchin sham, they do walk over there. She'ein charisha uzriya l'sham, you don't have plowing, you don't have planting over there. And so again, in any case, the Mishnah is saying that's considered a separation. And so this concept that there's an idea of separation by peah when it comes to the meitzer and the chatzav, so there we have a machlokas, Ravasi and Ravin, both quoting Rabbi Yochanan in terms of what the halacha, in terms of whether it's a separation in that case. And the Gemara continues, Tumah Mahi, when it comes to Tumah, where do we find this concept of separation of properties when it comes to Tumah? The Tanan, as we learned in the Mishnah, this is a Mishnah in the Taharos, Hanichnas Labik, if somebody enters a valley, B'yamos HaGeshamim, and it's the rainy season, V'tumah B'sad Plonis, and there's Tumah in a certain field. And the Mishnah continues, V'yamar, and the person says, Halachti l'makom halaz, I went to such and such a place, V'eni yodei im nichnasti l'oso makom v'imlav, I don't know if I entered that particular area where the Tumah was or not. Rabbi Eliezer mitar v'chacham mitam, and Rabbi Elazar says that the person is tar in that case, and the Chachamim say the person is tameh. And the Mishnah continues, Shahayir Rabbi Eliezer Omer, because Rabbi Eliezer would say, Safik biya tar, if the person is not even sure whether he came into the area where the tumah was, so then he is pure, he's tar, but Safik maga tumah tameh, but if he has a doubt whether he touched the actual tumah, in that kind of a doubt, we actually say the person is tameh. And the Rashbam explains, Tumah Mahi, my hefsek shayich besod linyan Tumah. What's the concept of hefsek by a field when it comes to Tumah? The Tanan, as we learned in the Mishnah, again, this is from the Mishnah in Taharos, V'aliba de Rabbi Eliezer, who the Rashbam says, we're following here Rabbi Eliezer, the shayich hefsek. He's the one that says there's a concept of hefsek when it comes to Tumah in these fields, Kid Mefarish V'yazal, as the Mishnah explains. B'yamos HaGeshamim, so again, it said that he entered this valley in the rainy season, have a Rishus HaYachid Tumah. The point over here is that during the rainy season, it's considered a Rishus HaYachid during that time in terms of the halachas of Tumah, and the halachas of Rishus HaYachid by Tumah are more strict. Usfeika Tameh, the halacha is that if you have a situation of doubt when it comes to Tumah in Rishus HaYachid, we say the person is Tameh. Sharein Mahalchin Ba B'nei Adam Shelo L'Kalkal Azriya, because the point is people don't usually walk there during the rainy season, so it's essentially like a private area. And the Mishnah again said, he says, Halachti L'Makom Halaz, the person says, I entered this area, meaning Nechnasti B'Bikazu, I entered this particular valley, but I don't know if I entered the place where the Tumah was or not. And again, Rabbi Eliezer said tar, and the Chachamim said tamei. The Chachamim etamim, the Chachamim say tamei. The sof mali sada achas mali beisados. According to the Chachamim, they don't make a distinction between one field and two fields. It's all one area. You have a suffix, so therefore you're tamei. It's considered Rishus HaYachid. Chadas veki. It's all one suffix. Shamahalach harakever v'hel. Maybe he walked up to the area of the burial and he created an oel atoma. Shamalo alach usfeko tamei. Maybe he didn't, and we say in the case of suffix it's tamei. The point is, according to the Chachamim, Chachamim, there's no concept of separation of fields, and that's why they always say Tameh. But Rabbi Eliezer says no, he makes a distinction. If you have a situation where you walked into the area, the valley, but you don't know if you were in that particular field, again, Safek Bia, that's what Rabbi Eliezer calls a Safek Bia, you're not sure if you entered or not, he actually says Tar is actually pure. If he's not sure if the person entered that field, if you have Tim Salomar Nichnas, and if you say he entered the field, Safek and Ba'ad Makom Tumah, it's a question whether he came to the Tumah or not, Imlav or not, Usfeik Sveiku, that's like a double doubt. Vitar, therefore he's Tar according to Rabbi Eliezer in that case. Let's say you just have one Safek. The Pshita laid the Safek, the Nichnas Ba'os Asad, we know he entered the field. It's just a doubt whether he touched the burial site or not. That's just one Safek, and he is Tameh. V'hilkach l'Rebbe Eliezer, and therefore, according to Rebbe Eliezer, now we apply that to our machlokas amoraim. Imavzik meitzer v'chatzav b'intayim. Let's say the separation of the fields was through this meitzer or chatzav. V'tuma be'achas me'an, tuma is just one of the fields. Ve'en yodeh be'ezen me'an nichnas. He doesn't know which one he entered. Safek biyahu v'tar. So then you're going to say that's a Safek whether he entered, and therefore he's tar. V'lega meitzer b'intayim. But if you're not going to consider the boundary to be a separation between them, Safek maga ika. Then it's a question of whether he touched it. V'lo Safek bi. It's not a question whether he entered. The kulo sada achasein. It's all considered one field v'tamein, and it's tamein. So therefore, that's why it makes a difference whether we consider there to be a separation or not. And the Gemara continues, Avol Shabbos lo, but when it comes to the halachas of Shabbos, it's not considered to be a separation. And the Rashbam explains, V'kadayak Gemara, the Gemara is now inferring as follows. Ravin Amar Rabbi Yochanan, according to Rabbi Yochanan, again, according to Ravin's view of what Rabbi Yochanan said, that we say the Meitzer and the Chatzav is considered to be a separation, Davka Pei V'tumah, that's only by Pei and Tumah that it's considered to be a separation. Avol Shabbos lo have a hefsek, but in terms of Hilchas Shabbos, it's not considered a separation. Meaning, imafsik meitzer v'chatzav. Let's say, for example, the meitzer and the chatzav are separating physically between two different rishos harabims. V'hotzi chatzi grogros bazen. He takes out a half a grogros, meaning a half a shear of what's chayiv for carrying. In this particular one, v'achar kach hotzi chatzi grogros b'sheni. He takes another half grogros to the second rishos harabim. So in that case, chayiv is going to be chayiv because it's not a separation. It's considered to all be one. The afil Rabbi Yossi the pater b'shnei rishuyos. Even according to Rabbi Yossi, that usually exempts if you did it into two different areas, still the ein hameitzer mafsikin l'shnei rishuyos. But over here, the meitzer, the chatzav, that is not considered a separation between the two areas. That's what the Gemara is now saying within Ravin Amar Reb Yochanan. But the Gemara continues, Rava Amar, but Rava says afilu linyan Shabbos. No, even for Shabbos, this is considered to be a separation. The Tanya, as we learned in a brisa, hotzi chatzi grogros l'rishos harabim. A person takes a half a grogros. Again, a grogros is the shear, what's considered that you're chayiv for carrying into another rishus. It's a half a grogros, a half a dried fig. If he takes a half a grogros into Rosh Hashanah, he places it down, v'chazar v'hotzi chatzi grogros acheres behelemecha. Then he goes, takes another half grogros, and he does it all in one helim, meaning it's all one mistake, it's all essentially one action. So in such a case, chayiv is going to be chayiv. B'shnei alamas pater, if he does it in two separate actions, so then two separate shogegs, two separate mistakes, he is going to be pater in that case. But Rabbi Yossi says behelim echad, if it's done behelim echad. And the Rashbam here says Meseches Shabbos tanan hamotzi ochlin. In Meseches Shabbos, it says in the Mishnah that if a person takes out food and violates the Isra of Hotzah, chayiv begrogros. The amount that he has to take to be chayiv is a grogros. Again, that's the amount of a fig. The b'Shabbos malachas machshavas asra Torah v'lo chashiva hotzas davar chashav bepachos mika grogros. You have to do something significant in order to be chayiv on Shabbos. It's only considered significant if it's a grogros or more. Behelam echad means shelo noda lo b'intayim. Helam echad means it's all one forgetting. It's all essentially one mistake. He wasn't aware in between the two actions, Shu Shabbos, that it was Shabbos, the Yediyah Mechalekas, because if he would have had knowledge between, then it divides them into two separate actions, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Nun Vav Amud Aleph.